Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome to Season 2, Episode 2.
We are back with another exciting episode of the FIS.podcast. And today we will be talking about a topic that I feel like most of the students would relate to. Today we're going to be talking about stress that a student faces in their daily life.
Have you ever felt tired? What I mean by tired is not physically tired, mentally tired. As if your brain has full of thoughts even though the day did not start. Yes, that's how a student life feels like. Student life isn't just about going to classes, it's about assignments, project deadlines, extracurricular activities, and external and internal exams, and the list goes on. And on top of that, we're supposed to balance our social lives and our personal lives. Then by time, when you add more stress, it's gonna affect your concentration. By the time, your memory will be affected as well. And if your concentration plus memory is affected, obviously your academic performance will be affected by it.
And you know, Rahaf, I really agree with you. Stress is really bad for our health, both mental health and physical health. So I'd first like to elaborate a bit about the mental health. In some cases, it can give you things like depression, anxiety, and when it reaches like severe cases, people can even get things like the imposter syndrome. And when it comes to the physical side effects, a lot of the time, girls our age especially, they have an imbalanced hormonal cycle, stomach issues, gut health issues. Sometimes they have like hair fall. I feel like a lot of girls can relate to that. Hair fall is really common, especially in girls our age. And you know, sometimes it can even disrupt your sleep cycle. Like some people, they sleep at 3 a.m. and they wake up at 6 a.m. That is extremely unhealthy and more oftentimes due to stress. And these disruptive sleep cycles, they can even continue when you're older and you're well into your adulthood. But let's focus on the bright side now. Our school has been helping us so much with dealing with stress, and they've provided us with so much of support, such as student counselors. And you know, we get long weekends once every month, so we have like a 3-day break to relax and reset our minds. And our school also gives us so many other opportunities. Like I think you remember we had the Karak and Chapati Day the other week, and we had the senior sunrise, and the creative makeup competition. And you know, we keep having so many things to relax and reset our minds. And our teachers too, they are so very supportive. And so to dig a little deeper and get professional advice on how to make our mental health better, we have our school's beloved teacher, Ms. Reem.
Welcome, Ms. Reem. Thank you for joining us for today. And we want to ask you a couple of questions.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for having me here today, and I hope I can be of help.
So, Ms., the first question we would like to ask you is, what is the most common myth about student burnout that you would like to bust?
So a common myth about burnout is that it only happens to students who can't handle pressure, but this is definitely not true. Burnout actually happens to students who are high achieving or responsible or giving too much of their time to worrying about schoolwork. Yes, it's important, but you also need to have a balance. And so it is not a sign of weakness. It is usually a sign that you have been stressed for too long without giving yourself time to recover.
For the second question, what's a 5-minute mental rest we can do between classes or just after school?
Okay, so for a mental reset, my best advice would be, I know it's difficult, but put your phone away, okay? Try to take some slow, deep breaths for 1 minute. If possible, might not be possible during the school day, but if possible, go outside, take a walk, get some fresh air, stretch. And this might help you also feel like less stressed. Is try to list 3 things that you've already accomplished today. It can be anything. No matter how small.
Yeah, I do agree with you, and that's really beneficial. Thank you, Ms. Reem.
And for the third question, how can we communicate boundaries better with students, teachers, or even parents? Because sometimes it's really difficult and hard to communicate boundaries with people who are older than us.
Okay, so the best thing to do to communicate your mental limits and be taken seriously, you should aim to be specific and solution oriented. So instead of saying that I feel stressed without any clarification, you could be more specific by saying, because I have multiple deadlines this week, and then you could ask for help on how you can prioritize things or to be able to manage this better, or if anything can be done to help you with those tasks that you need completed. And so when you explain the situation clearly and respectfully, your teachers will most likely be more than happy to help and be understanding and support you in any way that they can.
What are the steps that a mentally drained person can do to regain themselves again?
So the first step when you feel mentally drained is to pause and identify what is causing you that stress. So that's the most important thing. You need to know where the stress is coming from. Sometimes we are so stressed and worried about many different things, but we don't even recognize what the main source of stress is. So that's the first step. Then you need to be able to assess what is urgent and what is not, what can wait until later, what you have to do now. Once you've figured that out, focus on one small achievable task. So when you do one task at a time, you feel like you're slowly making progress, and that will help you build confidence and also restore a sense of control.
And Miss, for the last question, we would like to ask you, how can a student determine that their stress has got into the red zone, or they've crossed a certain boundary and, now their stress is harmful?
So, stress becomes harmful when it affects your sleep, it affects your appetite, you feel physically unwell more often. It makes you lose interest in things that you used to enjoy. And if you feel like you're constantly exhausted or irritable, and if this lasts for a couple of weeks or it interferes with your daily life, you can feel that the stress is too much, then you should definitely talk to somebody about it, an adult.
Ms. Reem, for sharing with us these amazing tips. I want to add one more thing. الله سبحانه وتعالى يقول في كتابه الكريم في سورة الشرح تحديدا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا. This verse itself reminds us that indeed with hardship comes ease. So you should always keep your faith with God. Thank you so much for listening, and that's the end of today's episode. See you guys in the next episode.
Masalama. Bye, guys.